Thomas, welcome back. Do you hear me?
Thomas, are you there? Yeah. All right, we'll go to Patrick Saunders. Patrick, go ahead.
Hi, buddy. How are you?
I'm well. Good morning.
Good morning. Your lineup's a little bit different today. I'm imagining it's just to give some guys a rest and some guys some playing time. I just want to check and make sure that's the case.
That's the case. I think you said it best. If you turn those things around, I think to give guys playing time is probably the overrides the other part, Patrick. As you know, we got to use our whole roster. We got to keep guys current as possible. So I thought this was a good day to get Adams in there, to get Trejo in there, to give those guys some at-bats.
Okay. Can you give us any sort of update on Antonio? Pretty much what you said yesterday?
Getting better each and every day. We're encouraged by, his, progress over the last 48 hours. Like we mentioned before, we think this is a mild growing strain. We'll know more when he picks up his activity here in a couple days. When he, gets out, he'll be out on the field this morning to play catch and move around. But when the intensity picks up, we'll know more about whether this is just one start that he'll miss. But we're optimistic.
Okay. We just got finished talking to Rymel. He always strikes me as such a confident guy, especially about his hitting. I asked him the question that as he's matured and gotten more playing time, et cetera, does he feel any more or less pressure based on how his teammates are performing around him? The idea of, well, hitting can be contagious, et cetera. He kind of dismissed that. He said, no, I just go up there and take every bat like I take every at bat. I'm very confident. But from your perspective, have you seen him grow as a hitter in all sorts of scenarios?
I think so. I think the hit tool has always been in there, even in the minor leagues. I think there was a period of time when he first got here that there was an adjustment to major league pitching, just the quality of the stuff. And I think he's to the point now where he's understanding the big league pitcher, velocity, moving on the breaking pitches, changing of speeds, soft stuff behind an account, all those things that major league pitchers do. I think now he is understanding how to hit against major league pitching. And I think we saw that last season when his average was up, hit 322, got a lot of base hits once we got him in the lineup. And I think that's carrying over this year. I think still the challenge for him is to stay within his approach each and every at bat, use the whole field, hit the ball where it's pitched. And if he does that, I think he'll continue to get hits. Every now and then you'll see the swing get a little hard and a little big and a little long. That's where you see, maybe the foul ball, just underneath. You'll see, the ground ball to second, trying to pull an outside pitch with a bigger swing. So, if he stays with that approach of, stay in the middle of the diamond, a thought process, and then hit the ball where it's pitched, I think you're going to see a lot of hits. And I do think the homer will show up. He shouldn't ever try to hit homers because that's when the swing gets big, swing gets long.
It's clear that he has a pretty, I don't know if unique is the word, but substantial skill in terms of hand-eye coordination, ability to handle a bat, et cetera. In that regard, does he remind you of anybody in your time in baseball, just in terms of his bat to ball skills?
Yeah, I'd have to think a little bit, but yeah, there's that type of guy. But it's a unique stance, but he gets in a good hitting position once the pitcher starts his delivery and is about to release the ball. He's in good position to hit. There's nothing off the top of my head, Patrick, because I still think everybody's unique, but there are those hitters that, have that quality of bat to ball skill. I'm trying to think really hard if I can draw.
Well, that's okay. You can
Yeah.
think about it and might
I heard.
get back to me.
Okay. Yeah.
And one more follow-up on Tap, and I don't mean this in a negative way at all. But is there a little bit of a stubbornness to Tap? Because he's always said, hey, I can hit anytime, anywhere, but we've been having kind of this same conversation where you tell us, he's got to rein it in once in a while. But is there a little bit of a stubbornness to Tap?
I don't know whether it's stubbornness. I think it's just, really strong conviction in his belief in his ability. I think that's real. And I think, a lot of players have that. That's why they're here. It's what has made them, a major league player, is his belief in himself. I don't know whether stubborn's the word, but there's, a great deal of self-confidence that he can hit, because he's always hit. So, whatever I don't think stubborn's the word. I think he's just, he believes in himself and his ability to hit.
Great. Thanks. Thank you, buddy.
Anybody else have any questions for Buddy? Evan Henry. Go ahead.
Hey, I'll ask you one on Tappy, if you don't mind. From the defensive side of things, what have you seen this year as far as his defensive development?
Well, still, working on it every day. I think that, players, Kevin, work on all facets of their game. We've talked about Tap over the last couple of years, and it's just it's a daily, daily work that he puts in with our coaches on every aspect of outfield play, from, ground ball technique on a base hit to, routes, reads, initial step footwork on a ball, left or right or over his head or in. And I think from the time he got here to the big leagues, there's been incremental improvement. Has it been a quantum leap of progress? Probably not, but he's better now than he was a couple years ago. And again, I still think there's a long-ranging play in there because of his speed. I do think there's a tremendous diving catch in there somewhere. I think the fundamental, play of hitting the cutoff man has improved. Throwing to the correct base has improved. Technique on charging a ground ball base hit has improved. So there's been improvement, but still, there's room to grow on defense with Tap, and with all players, really. Even the best get better.
In the confidence that you see from him at the plate, do you see that same confidence from him as a fielder?
Probably not.
Okay. Just curious. All right. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it.
Patrick, do you have a follow-up?
I do. But in regard to Lucas Gilbreth making his debut last night, we talked about him in spring training some other times. What do you, not just last night, but overall, what's his skill set? What do you see from him that makes him call up worthy at this time?
Well, I think there's an upside potential to Lucas that we've seen grow in the last year and a half. Now, I saw him, last year in the instructional league, and I saw a good live arm. Mid-90s fastball, ability to spin the ball, repeatable delivery. Some good things that, to my eye, look major league quality. And our player development people, said the same thing. Minor league starter, overall stuff, maybe velocity wise, down a mile or two because he was a starter. Trying to pitch a little bit, change speeds, move the fastball, get it to sink, throw the breaking ball, work on a changeup, all the things that, starting pitchers do. And I think when he was moved to the bullpen, We saw the uptick in velocity, and for whatever reason, I think there's some strength gained over the last year and a half that put a little power into his fastball. And I think that, that jump of stuff, I think energized him to the point where, I think he really felt confident in his ability to turn the ball loose and be aggressive and, for lack of a better word, out muscle some, some hitters. I mean, with good stuff, power on power. So I think the upside of his stuff is something that we're excited about, like I said earlier.
Two more on him real quick. Can you take me through his repertoire and maybe rate it just a little bit where he's at this point?
Well,
And go ahead.
Yeah, fastball, breaking ball. He has a split-fingered pitch that he uses as a changeup that our pitching coaches really like. It's still in the developmental stages, right? Because the split is a pitch that, in most cases, is devastating if you get it, in the hitting area or below. But sometimes it's a tough pitch to control. But the fastball slider combination right now is his best stuff. And the fastball's, anywhere 93 to 96. And in a mid 80 slider, 84, 85, 86 with good spin to it. I mean, that's sort of the foundation of his stuff.
And my follow-up was, when we chatted with him this morning, I was struck by his attitudes. He talked about, the first pitch of his big league career, whatever, was a home run. And his attitude, well, I'm 1 for 1 now. I got that out of the way. That kind of attitude, buddy, not saying he's not ultra competitive, doesn't care, but maybe the ability to let that wash off. Is that a good thing from a young pitcher?
Yeah, I think, what I've learned from Lucas, getting to know him a little bit in spring training, is just the overall broadness of his perspective of where he is in his career. He's a bright kid. The college degree, in his major. He just seems to have a poise and a calmness about him. But yeah, if there's a competitor in there, Patrick, there's a guy that's, he's getting after it. But I think, his head, meaning his aptitude and his understanding of where he is a real positive and advantage for him. So we'll continue to, get to know this fella, and hopefully that perspective will help him. But, he knows that, the pitch was, right down the middle. It was a game that was heavily in our favor, and the guy jumped to first pitch, 94-mile-an-hour fastball, which happens. It just happened to be on his first pitch of his career, which is, doesn't happen often, but it did. So, but he did, quickly turn the page. He was fine this morning. So he's ready to go today, and we'll see. His career is happening before our eyes.